What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of From the Logo. I'm joined here by ZZ and it's Gifted, and we got a lot to address in the piping hot NBA offseason. I say piping hot because I live in Detroit and it's been a heat wave for the past 4 or 5 days. I've been going through it, ZZ. I used to be light skinned, now I'm a lot darker. Off of one summer, that's just how it go. But before we get to our topics for what we want to address today, I do want to say the Bucks made a move. They made a move, ZZ. They lost Malik Beasley, which is, tough, but they got Gary Trent, a better shooter. I actually like this fit for them. I don't know how you feel about Gary Trent as a player. Some people think he plays great defense. Some people think he's ass. I think it's a great move for the Bucks, though.
See, with Gary Trent, I agree with you on how people view him. He's kind of been not necessarily. I don't want to say too polarizing. I mean, last year he shot 39% from three. All right, that's respectable. All right, if Clay, I talk about how Clay was shooting that last year and people called him washed, but Gary Trent Jr. Bucks fans are salivating at the mouth right now because he might be able to fill the gap of Malik Beasley. Who knows? But to me, it doesn't really move me, Gifted. It really doesn't move me. You want to know why? Because that's not going to fix the Bucks' biggest issues. And
okay, I hear that.
To be honest with you, based on and here's the thing: Giannis and Dame are a duo that should, at the very least, make it to a finals in their tenure together. That's how I feel. That's just how I feel. Now, if you're the front office, that means that everybody else on the outside, you need to be filling those gaps the best way that you can, starting from the head coach's spot all the way to those little filler spots. So this Gary Trent Jr. acquisition is cool. You get a guy that can at least knock down the long ball the same way, and I'd say is a better defender than Malik Beasley. So that's an upgrade in that aspect. But who gonna pick up for Dame on that perimeter defense? Who's gonna do that? Damian Lillard, right? That is his job. That's his job. On the offense, all of that in terms of the chemistry and what have you, that's on Doc Rivers, Dame, and Giannis to figure out how to spearhead that ship.
True.
So you can go and get whoever you need to get to fill the gaps. Patrick Beverly went and signed for a team, I think, in Israel. So Patrick Beverly gonna be out the league next year. And
I was gonna answer that part too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
So if Pat Bev is out the door, and that's the guy that y'all brought in at the trade deadline last year because you knew you were struggling on the perimeter, and that was a guy that was going to be, that veteran presence or whatever to tell guys, hey, give a little bit of effort. You know what I'm saying? That guy's gone. So the Bucks still haven't patched up everything they need to patch up for me to look at them and say, all right, look, I can see y'all in this. I'm putting y'all in the same light as Boston, Philly, and New York, right? They're on the outside, right? They right on the outside for me.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I agree with you, right? Gary Trent does not fix all the issues that they have. I'm just saying, in terms of what they did as a team, losing Malik Beasley, while I did think he also was not making a big difference in those areas, to lose him for nothing is kind of rough. But to get a replacement in Gary Trent, which to me, he's much better than what his market currently says, right? Like, he's still a better shooter than Beasley on volume. I also feel like he can probably play longer than Beasley because he's taller. He's just a better overall basketball player to me than Beasley. So I think that from that sense, adding a guy like that in who can actually score the ball and shoot well. I mean, for the Raptors, he was doing it at a pretty good clip. I think he can do the same thing with a better player in Giannis and Dame's, creation on the team. Does it fix everything? No. But in terms of them needing a move to have someone who could be a reliable bench guy or even be a starting shooter, I think that's a great add. I really, really do. I was going to introduce the next Bucks news too with Patrick Beverly because I got to say this, man. I've been waiting on this moment. I'm going to show a tweet real quick on the screen. Let me
I've been waiting on this moment.
I'm gonna show this to you real quick, man. So I had a tweet today, real quick. Y'all should be able to see this here.
I can see it from here.
You see that right there, chat? You had the so this is my tweet as soon as Shams dropped that bomb, right? You had the last 5 years. The next 5 years are mine. Patrick Beverly to Steph Curry in October 2019. Now, chat, if we can do math, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 2024 is basically 5 years. So within 5 years, Patrick Beverly is effectively out of the league. Now, is that me shitting on Patrick Beverly? No. Because I understand if he saw better business there, go take that. Very smart move. I just, the next 5 years are mine, and they were not. And Steph won a title after that is hilarious. I just want to point that out.
I remember that night that he said that shit. I remember watching the game too, because this was the Warriors team post Kevin Durant's departure, right? No Klay Thompson. And I remember the Clippers whooped the Warriors' ass that night to the point where before the game had even ended, Patrick Beverly was pointing to the crowd. I remember he was like, "Where y'all going? Where y'all going?" Because people was getting up, leaving and shit. He was like, "Where y'all going? Where y'all going?" No, stay. And then he said that shit to Steph Curry. 5 years later, Patrick Beverly is securing a bag overseas, and Steph Curry has won another championship in that time frame. So it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. I will say this. Gift is not hating on Pat Bev, and I don't think a lot of people in the chat are hating on Pat Bev either.
I'm not. I like Pat Bev actually.
Because I feel like to the majority of the public, NBA fandom, they rock with Patrick Beverly. A story that Patrick Beverly has, from where he comes from, how he got to the league, how he grinded his way to be a rotational role player for a period of time. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that is worth getting praised for. However, some of the other things that people love Patrick Beverly for is delusion. Hey, you didn't miss the Bronny segment. We about to get into it. Don't even worry about it. We about to get into it. But I'm just saying, like for a player like Patrick Beverly to have such a great story of how he made it to the league and stayed in the league, and for all of the antics that we've gotten from Patrick Beverly, I mean, that comment, the Chris Paul shove in the back, the "Are you subscribed to my podcast?" Just all of that shit, and the play-in championship. I saw that video today actually. Him crying and keeping his playoff streak alive, which honestly, like for Patrick Beverly, I understand people looking at it and being like, why are y'all really celebrating? Y'all just made it out the play-in or whatever. Like, but for Patrick Beverly, he had a playoff streak at that moment in time. He was trying to keep alive. I remember going into that game, watching that game thinking, okay, Patrick Beverly is going to give it his all because his playoff streak is on the line and he's the only one that really cares about it. So,
and he played well.
And he played well. He played decent. So you just gotta give him props, man. Shout out to him. If he don't come back to the league, then I'll officially say that he played more years than guys like prime Boogie Cousins. Like Pat Bev made it longer in the league than Boogie Cousins, than Dwight Howard, Loki. Shout out Pat Bev.
Yeah. And like I want to be clear, it's just funny because he's such a confident, aggressive personality for him to say the next 5 years are mine and you be out the league. I gotta throw that jab in there because that's just funny. But I do want to be clear. Patrick Beverly to me is definitely still an NBA player. Yeah. I still believe that. If you watch the playoffs last year, the shit he was doing in the playoffs, he was outplaying Tyrese Halliburton in some of those games, right? Yeah. Like we saw that where Patrick Beverly almost had a triple-double in the game. You remember that? Like he was doing that. And that was for a Bucks team that was super shorthanded. So honestly, losing Patrick Beverly is going to hurt the Bucks too.
You damn straight. Look,
you know what I'm saying?
If you're the Bucks, because essentially they let him walk for nothing, right? Essentially,
right.
So for a player of Patrick, like I said, for y'all to go to the trade deadline at the point last season and say we know what we need, right? Our defense is struggling. That's why they went to go get a Patrick Beverly, and when they made that move, I was like, yo. Props to the front office. Y'all actually made a pretty solid move, right? There's a high risk or low risk, high reward ratio with the Patrick Beverly on your team, especially to fulfill that role, right? So, you could in my head, I was like, they're going to find a way to bring him back. And a player like Patrick Beverly, if you can keep him around and keep him in the locker room, you can find a way to put him on a vet minimum or something. They said, nah. Now, look, them getting Gary Trent, we'll see how that plays out. But like
I like that move, though. I really do.
It's a great move, but I mean, you know what?
Not enough, though.
Isaiah Thomas. if Pat Bev, I forgot he threw the ball at the fans.
That's a good ass point. That's a good ass point.
I was like, what was the last thing he did? Throwing shit was so funny.
It was that, but also like I believe in the post game he said, "You can't ask me questions unless you're following my podcast." Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's a lot going on. You just had a good game. Again, he was not bad in the playoffs, but the off the court stuff, I hear that.
Hey, look, I'm gonna say this. If Bronny James can get a 4-year guaranteed contract off averaging 4 points per game in college, I feel like Pat Beverly still could have a shot in the NBA. I feel like Pat Bev deserves a shot. I feel like Boogie Cousins deserves a shot. I feel like Dwight Howard deserves a shot. Who am I missing? Jeremy Lin. Like I'm like damn. Like the way the NBA works just confuses me because I'm like you willing to throw everything at the fact that LeBron. You remember LeBron's tweet where he said that he's watching the G or League Pass and he knows Bronny's better than certain guys in the league.
Yeah,
if that's the case,
I do. Yeah, I do.
You know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, Bron, I got to see Jeremy Lin get a shot, man. Bronny got 4 years guaranteed for what? For what? And he still ain't made a 3 in the summer league. God damn.
Whatever. Yeah, he's shooting 0% for 3 right now.
More to the game than 3. I come in and we're talking about Bronny, Jane, right on time. What's going on? There's more to the game. Man,
what's good, buddy, bro?
I got a heat wave here too. I heard gets a time. I got a heat wave here too. Got my AC,
hot, man.
Heat and water. Yeah, no, it's a problem. But can't complain though. Better than when the blizzards are here in the wintertime. So
definitely,
much, right?
definitely on that. Yeah. We just talked about the Bucks and their signing of Gary Trent. What are your thoughts on that?
Definitely upgrade from Malik Beasley. Gary Trent, someone who can get hot from 3. And his defense isn't great, but isn't bad. I think he's very medium right there. Maybe on a Bucks team that's contending for championships. I always say with guys like Gary Trent when I see him play defense with the Raptors, knowing that the Raptors weren't in contention. I wonder how players feel the need to kind of try on defense while when you're on the Bucks and it's a kind of a championship aspirations. Does that defense improve? So it'll be interesting to see if his defense does improve with Gary Trent because he did play relatively better defense when he was on Portland than he was on Toronto. So it'll be interesting.
And that was his best year defensively to me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I don't know whether, again, going to Toronto, knowing that it was kind of a rebuild situation, if that took away from it, but I'll be interested to see. But offensively, I think he's a fine addition for the Bucks. They got a shooter. So I think he'll be solid.
Yeah. I don't hate that. They lost Patrick Beverly and Malik Beasley. So I still think that even with the addition, they still need more. Their defense is still not going to be looking great to me, especially if they're trying to trade Brook Lopez, which again, we got to see what happens with that. But seeing that, I'm like, you know what? Gary Trent is a better player than a 1-year guy to me. I do think that there's a ton of teams that he could have added value to. So for the Bucks, a team that is kind of talent averse at this point, to get Gary Trent, I thought was solid, but you still need to make more pieces if they really want to put themselves in that actual, a conversation out east to me.
Yeah.
No, that's very true too. Patrick Beverly not getting any sort of job was a little surprising. I thought he'd still be in the NBA.
I think he left on purpose. I think he had offers to go to some other team, but I think he legitimately chose that offer, over the NBA.
Which honestly, when I first, because I remember first seeing the report that he could get a bag overseas, and I was like, at this stage in your career, Pat, why not? You see everybody getting all this super max money, the caps then spiked out of control, and niggas are getting $300 million a year. Yeah, and you don't fall into any of that category. You're not making the biggest amount of that pot. You might as well do what what's his name, Stephon Marbury. You can go make
bank overseas.
Bank over there.
I remember the first player who really gave up kind of a big deal in the NBA and was still young, kind of prospect. Remember Josh Childress? He was the first guy. He was the first guy.
Right.
Yeah, he was the first guy to leave to go to Europe or this other situation, kind of smack dab in his prime. We've seen older guys or when he kicked out the league, but the league wanted him, but he just took more. He had more money off of there, tax situation too. So it is interesting to see how now more and more players are going overseas, maybe even earlier than expected.
Facts.
And he'll have much more freedom to, I guess, fully be himself over there. Coming from the NBA, I just think that overall choice might be a good choice for him. I also think that he might be waiting for the new TV deal to kick in. So maybe he comes back and gets more money. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I can't wait to see where this Bucks team is. But I do think Trent is a big difference because, I mean, again, this is a guy that at his best in Portland could shoot movement threes pretty well, and just provided value. If he's at his best on this Bucks team, it does make them more dangerous. So I like it. At the very least, you got some type of addition. Beasley to me was always mid to ass. I was kind of fine with him. I don't really trust him playing heavy minutes in the playoffs regardless because of his defense is so bad and his shot is not as consistent. Trent, while his best asset is shooting, he can flat out get you a bucket, right? I don't think Malik Beasley was that overall type of player to me.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
100%. He's a bucket getter. Malik Beasley was more so just kind of a 3-ball shooter. While Trent, he can attack the basket, has a good mid range, the 3-ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, he can give you offense in more ways than Malik Beasley.
Yeah. But Troll said that apparently ZZ had a Bronny segment. I'm very curious to hear what this is about.
No, it's basically, this is just the Bronny Chronicles, I feel like.
Nope.
At this point, we can just keep having a Bronny segment until he hits a 3. That's what I feel like. I feel like we should do that. Until Bronny hits a 3, we'll keep talking about why he can't hit threes. Now, Jaylen, I'm gonna be real with you. Because I'm starting to see, I don't know about y'all, but I'm starting to see, because it sucks. I've said it before. Bronny has so much pressure on him, right? At such a young age, double pressure, because your father is arguably the GOAT, right? So you have so much pressure on you. You're playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's another layer of pressure, right? Your coach got pressure on him because this is his first time coaching at all, right? So it's such a weird situation. I've started to see the comment section go from, at one point, being mostly supportive of Bronny to, like, last night I saw a comment. It was like, what did it say? It was like, man, at this point, this nigga can't even hit a 3. I'm done. I was like, yo, y'all giving up on my man now. Here we go. Bronny in the summer league so far. Okay, so if you look at it at base level, right, he's right on par with his college numbers. So that's not bad. But I'm sorry, Gibson, I had to, bro. Because Jaylen, you are a Braun fan, and I love you for it. I really do. But how
Yeah, so this whole Bronny James talk, a guy who was picked 55th overall. The only reason why he's a topic of conversation is because of LeBron James. This goes back to LeBron James. And if you look at the people pushing this kind of over analyzation of Bronny James, it just comes from the same people who have had a track record history of trying to just bash LeBron James in every way. You have clowns on Twitter like Apex Jones with the following, who every post is about LeBron James ruined the league, this and that. There's just a bunch of that. And then you have the clowns like Scap Attack, Uncut Hoops, who just make a living off of every video bashing LeBron James. I swear to God, Scap Attack, Uncut Hoops, you would think LeBron James hooked up with their wife, daughter, or something. Like they really hate this man. This is crazy. Like, the way they talk about this man is absolutely absurd. So the way
now Jalen been sitting on this.
I'm telling you, the way these people, they have a following and they just make their bread and butter off of LeBron James post after post. They continually do it. Now it's just LeBron James is the it factor kind of attacking. So I just want to say the whole concept of, LeBron James using his name brand to get his son a job, taking the spot of someone else. All these things about it takes away the competitive nature, you know what I mean? Championship, this and that. Michael Jordan played baseball for a couple years and took the spot of someone in AA baseball. He got that job because his name was Michael Jordan. He was not good at baseball. What are we talking about? All those same guys who continuously bash LeBron James about getting his son a job. LeBron might have got his son a job. Michael Jordan had to get himself a job using his name in baseball. What about that? No one talks about that. He was no AA level player. He could not hit a baseball to save his life, but he used his name brand, his name recognition, and all that to get himself a job. I'm just saying.
Comment if he was
what
good
about that?
not.
People wouldn't say none of that. People say, "Oh, it's so great, Michael Jordan going. Oh, it's so great." You can say, "Oh, it's so great that."
Jalen might be yapping. I really don't know.
I'm just saying this is real. I'm just saying all this conversation about LeBron, this and that. Michael Jordan doing the same thing in a totally other sport.
Hey, look,
say nothing.
Look, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Hey, look. It was supposed to be a Bronny segment. It turned into a.
I didn't expect that. I did not.
It turned into a Jalen Cooking segment. Jaylen had to take us right to the kitchen. You know what I'm saying?
It be like that sometimes.
Hey, look, Jaylen, I ain't even gonna refute the Michael Jordan take. I actually like it.
I don't know.
I think that might be a little swerve if we look into the numbers. You know,
look at the numbers.
But as of right now,
T-ball.
hey, look, I feel you on that. I'll say this. To your point about people saying, you know, it's the 55th pick, right? It's the second round pick. You know, no, I've seen people say no second round pick has had this much pressure on him or has been this scrutinized. And you're right. To people like me who said that Bronny should have just stuck around another year in college, if not just transfer from USC, like I was sitting here saying, dude, you need a fresh start at this point. You had cardiac arrest issue. I get that. You only played, I think he played over 20 games. They still were a terrible team. And his minutes were fluctuating and all that. And it was a weird year. Go get a fresh start. Do what Clay did. Clay just had a weird fucking year, right? He shot 39% from three. And then he was 0 for 10 in a closeout elimination playing game, single game, right? He literally, after the game, takes a second, looks at the crowd, sinks it all in, and then in the offseason leaves to go get a fresh start. Bronny could have easily doubled back. If Bronny said, because Bronny said to the public, I never really thought about playing with my dad or whatever. Okay, cool. Why didn't you take another year in college then? Why did you rush to go to the league now if you know you're not ready and your numbers don't say you're ready? That was my only thing. I am not, and let me preface by saying this. In no way, shape, or form am I trying to slander Bronny. I want him to succeed. That is why I said stick around another year in college, man. You had terrible numbers. You know these aren't league numbers. These aren't draft numbers. You're lucky that you got the 55th, that you got drafted at the 55th spot. And the only reason that was is because of your daddy's last name. If Bronny's last name was Johnson, he would not be in the league. I swear to God. Like, y'all know that.
Sure,
I'm not hating, like, once again, not hating on Bronny. I'm just saying it's based on the circumstance. So it sucks, but, you know.
I don't know why we're talking about a 55th pick so much. Like, I expect the 55th pick
to have why. Bad games. You know why.
Exactly, the last name. I'm just saying it. We don't need to. Like, we talk
so, so there's a couple things. There's a couple things here, right? I don't disagree with everything Jalen said. But what I want to be clear about is the reason why I think there needs to be more nuance. I think there's two things that are true, right? Okay. I think there are irrational LeBron haters who hate on LeBron so much that are attacking his son for being ass in the G League. And they want to like really, really like say, see, he wasn't ready. Right.
He's not the GOAT. He's not the GOAT.
Right. Exactly. Those people exist. But there's also the other group of people who are acknowledging, hey, Bronny needed to spend more time in college. He's not a pro. He's just
But we all know that though. Like everybody knows that.
No. I know that we know that. But the thing is, when you get drafted, regardless, when there's other talent that people say were better than him that didn't get drafted, but he got drafted over these people, right? He's the 55th pick, right? I don't care. It's the 55th pick. I understand all of that logic. However, when you're guaranteeing a contract, 55th picks don't get their contracts extended to that degree unless there's real talent there, at least in the organization's mind. A lot of that takes place because of his name. And like it or not, Bronny had pressure put on him, not just from his name, but by his own father, literally saying things like, he's actually looking like better players than players who exist in the pros right now. Now, again, that's a dad trying to put confidence in his son. I 100% feel that, Jalen. I do. But if you're asking why we're talking about it, it's because of things like that. It's because of the deleted tweets about X, Y, or Z. His name is out there for that reason, and that's why. I kind of hate that he's getting more talk than other rookie players in the class who be doing good.
I hear you on that.
The number one pick. We ain't heard shit about the number one pick.
Cocaine Curry.
Well, like,
Ben Hoopin.
So look. Let me say this too. I've seen people talk and bring up LeVar Ball a lot, right? To for a comparison. In LeVar Ball's case, I remember, man, life was so much simpler. LeVar Ball was on national television spewing bullshit about his son, saying that Lonzo was better than Curry at the time. I think that was 2016. He was saying he was better than Steph Curry. saying that he was going to be the first father to get all his sons in the league, yada yada, all this great stuff. He was pushing propaganda. We knew that back then, right? But the one thing that we looked at that made us not like this, I give Lonzo and maybe Melo and not Jello, but Lonzo and LaMelo credit for is throughout all of that. Imagine the pressure of being a nationally ranked college player. Your dad's going on national television, not only saying he could beat prime Michael Jordan 1-on-1, and saying that you were going to walk into the draft and essentially walk into the league and essentially be the best player off rip. All of these egregious things. Zoe kept his head down and was showing us great progress, I think, after he got out of LA, I'd say, right up until the injuries. Zoe was showing us he could play perimeter defense, he could play make, he was developing his three-point shot, and it was starting to look like progress was being made. LaMelo, to his credit, he's been solid ever since he touched down in the league. We knew Melo was going to be cool. We knew Melo was going to be cool, right? And then Jello, we know what happened in that regard. But, I mean, when you compare that to LeBron, like Gifted said, telling us on Twitter that, Bronny's better than some niggas in the league, and he hasn't even played a season at college yet up until that point, I think. It's just like, yo, you kind of put this shit on yourself. The same way when he had the retirement home featuring Carmelo and Russ and Dwight, all of them, and he was keep talking about our age, keep talking about our and just please keep that same energy, and then ends up deleting the tweet after week 2 because these niggas suck and they're old and all of the things that we said was going to be an issue with this team happened. So it's like, to that standpoint, you have to look at it and you have to give Bronny a little bit of grace, in my opinion, because I'm like, Bronny didn't necessarily bring all this upon himself. But at the same time, if you had an opportunity, let me ask you this question. Jaylen, y'all too.
Yeah.
Chat, y'all too. Chat, answer this question for me. If y'all, right, were the son of the greatest of all time, and you go out there in your rookie year of college and you put up the numbers that Bronny did, are y'all saying, you know what, I'm going to go to the draft? Or are y'all saying, you know what, I'm going to build my draft stock? Because Bronny, you remember at one point when they did the projections of the mock drafts, he was high as hell, and then every week he kept getting lower and lower and lower and lower. What Duke just said. You can't tell me Bronny not better than Corey Joseph. That's crazy. Hey, look.
Shout out Corey Joseph's dad, though. I actually play poker with him basically weekly at the Yeah.
Oh, you did, huh?
Coach, yeah. No,
tell him his son pissed me off a lot. Watching him play basketball.
Like how Jalen just did. I don't want to lose a relationship. I'm just not.
He's a good guy. Real chill, real fun at the table. I mean, look, I'm sure the bank account real nice too with Corey setting up some match.
Hey, but let me know, what would y'all do in a situation? Would y'all say, okay, I'm gonna sit back and chill and build and better my game in order to be ready to go to the league, or would y'all just go straight to the league with your numbers?
Well, I think if the goal is to be a solid basketball player and getting better at basketball, I actually think if you know you're going to get drafted, going to an organization that you know is going to put some, effort into making you better, knowing what they want from you, getting NBA level trainers, the food, all that, and just being in the G League to develop, I think that's better. It's better for him developing his game than college. So if his goal is to be the best basketball he can be, I think going, again, with his special situation, knowing he would be drafted because of his last name, take advantage of that and develop at the pros, I actually think it's better than developing at college. College are still, because at the end of the day, colleges have other priorities than just developing your game. That's just the reality situation in college, right?
Yeah, I think what I would say is that, I feel like it's really dependent on whatever you deem is best for your development, because someone brought up a very good point, right? Let's say Bronny goes through another year, right? Mm-hmm. The draft classes after this one are said to be some of the biggest draft classes we've seen for a while. And it might be harder to get drafted in those draft classes than this one. Right. So it's like, from that perspective, if they thought that, okay, this is his best chance to get into the league, I get it. I'm not terribly upset at Bronny saying, I have an opportunity to go to the league. I'm going to go to the league. I'm just saying, can we stop acting like it's not what it is? That's really it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're in there because, A, you chose the best draft class to get in, number one. 2, LeBron's influence and your name is a big part of why you are in the league. Fine. Well, now you're in the league. Now you have a guaranteed multi-year deal. A lot of second-round picks don't get that. You do. So what are you going to do with it? That overall becomes the question. To me, it's less about being mad at Bronny. You never turn down a bag. You never turn down a chance to be in the NBA to play one more year at college, not getting paid, right? Only getting money from your NIL deals, but not actually getting paid by the college to play basketball, right? So if you're Bronny, going to the league is a no-brainer. I get that. I'm just saying the discourse around it is, why are we acting like it's not what it is? Both things can be true.
Okay.
I see
what you're saying. I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? So there's that. But are we ready to get to the conspiracy talks?
To the conspiracy theories.
Are we ready for that? Oh, and before we even get to that, though, it's been a rough week for Jaylen Brown.
Hell yeah.
Has it though? I mean, hey, he was with his beautiful girlfriend. 4 seats. You know, doing living life. And Angel Reese was there with him too. I don't know what
I actually talking shit about Bronny.
I mean, hey, mouth leaders be thinking anything. You don't know what he said. I don't know. People can think a lot of things, but you don't know what he said.
I know what he said.
You really know what he said. So I'm just saying,
he said what's true.
Him there with his beautiful girlfriend and another.
In fact,
one.
I'm gonna pull the tweet right now. While we doing this, because I know exactly what he said. Hang on, let me pull this up real quick for the chat.
Chat, what Jaylen Brown say? What do you say, Chuck? What do you say, Chuck?
So Jaylen Brown might have went home with both of them. I don't know what y'all thinking. He might have been. I think he might have had a good week. He had his girl and Angel Reese out there.
Yeah. So for those of y'all who missed this,
could have been a +1.
So Jaylen Brown was at courtside with Angel Reese and Kyer, which is his a girlfriend right now. Apparently, he quotes this tweet that is saying what he was saying. He said, Jaylen Brown said, I don't think LeBron is a pro. He quotes it and says, it's a flex to have your son alongside you in the NBA. It reflects greatness and longevity. Bronny has all the tools around him to be successful. I look forward to watching his growth. Now, here's my thing, right?
That's a political
Here's my thing.
Time to get the politics.
Here's my thing. First off, political as hell, number one. And number two, I think the best thing to do is don't say shit, because when you double down on something like this, now it's like, all right, why do you have to clear up any of your comments? You just said, I don't think he's a pro. That's fine. Right. Right.
Most people agree with.
Yeah. And the way that the tweet isn't lying is Jaylen Brown would have said, I didn't say that. Instead, he's like, no, let's work around everything else I said. Like, no, it's a flex. And that's fine. But is he a pro or not, Jaylen Brown?
Yeah.
Is he a pro or not?
No,
so I just want to say that I really feel like he should have just said nothing and let it go. Because, guys, how the internet works, if some crazy shit happens, say nothing, and some other bullshit will come up that grabs everyone's mind, and they forget about this. The fact that he quoted and interacted with it is what spawned such a big conversation, right? So that's why I'm saying rough week. Didn't make Team USA. Then this stuff happens, but it's time to officially get to the conspiracy. So, as we all know, Kawhi Leonard did not play. The Clippers apparently were a part of the process that made Kawhi have to not be on Team USA. According to the reports that I read, he said that he was good to go. The Clippers organization said they thought he was fine, but the Team USA higher up said, no, it's probably better if he doesn't play. And the Clippers agreed with that at the end of the day. Now, here's why I say this might be a slight conspiracy. Do y'all know who's in charge of Team USA?
Grant Hill? My trip?
Are you talking about? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So he's in charge. Do you know his Nike ties?
I believe he was a Nike athlete for a long time.
Well, he recently got a higher position overall with Nike. And the reason why I bring Nike up so much here is, I'm going to be so honest with y'all, right? Derek White over Jaylen Brown for Team USA. Let's first address that. So you're telling me the finals MVP, all-star, all NBA caliber guy, who actually made the All NBA team last year, cannot be in Team USA. And beyond his regular season accolades, before the before y'all say, oh, but Gifty, he scores too much. He don't pass the ball. Well, guess who else was also in the pipeline for Team USA before this? Jaylen Brown. He's been active with Team USA. They know of him. They have some type of portfolio around him. He's been in the works. Why is it that as soon as Kawhi goes down, within 20 minutes, ZZ, 20 minutes, they call in Derek White?
You're right.
Derek White was in Cabo, relaxing, chilling, all that. Takes the call from Cabo and goes straight to Team USA. But Jaylen Brown, who is better than Derek White, who just won the final MVP for his team in the championship round, who has more Team USA experience than Derek White,
right?
Does not get the same call. Why do y'all think that is?
Because
it's of course the Nike angle definitely makes sense with Jaylen Brown bashing Nike, him leaving them, covering the Nike swoosh. Definitely all plays a factor. We understand that basketball, especially at the Olympic level, is still a business too. Nike spends a lot of money sponsoring these athletes, getting their logo seen. Nike actually had their worst quarter, I think, in decades. They've had one of the worst quarters. Yeah, their stock is down insane.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Nike had one of the worst quarters ever. So it's been a bad few situations for Nike lately. They're in their worst situation in a really long time. So this probably doesn't help in that situation. But yeah, in terms of Nike making that call, do I think they said, hey, we don't want Jaylen Brown in here, and Team USA thought that Derek White could still give him valuable minutes, valuable shot making, defense, things of that nature? I will say from a basketball perspective, you could make the case that Derek Royce is more used to playing a reduced role, right, and still being a quality player. So him playing around those stars, maybe he's more easily assimilated. So that basketball argument can be made. Clearly, Jaylen Brown is the better player. Finals MVP, all that for sure. He should have got the call. But it's also interesting to see because say a guy like Steph Curry who isn't with Nike, right? Kawhi Leonard who wasn't with Nike. Like Steph was always going to make this team no matter what.
Right.
No matter what he's going to make.
Anthony Edwards, not with Nike. He was going to make this team no matter what. So it does seem like there is this kind of threshold where if you're past a certain level of greatness, Nike doesn't have that sway. But when you're in that Jaylen Brown tier of great, maybe Nike has a little bit more power, right? Nike's not going to tell Team USA, keep Steph off the list, keep Anthony Edwards off the.
It's not possible.
That's not going to happen. They don't have that much sway. But Jaylen Brown tier, yeah, I could see that.
For me, if y'all ever watch, if y'all are wrestling fans, for any of y'all, then y'all would know the term politics when it's closely associated with like Hulk Hogan, for example, right?
Yeah.
Growing up, a couple of my friends that are wrestling fans, we would always use that term in school whenever something was just unfair and we couldn't do anything about it. Politics, kid, politics, teacher politics, principal politics, whatever, right? In the case of Team USA and Jaylen Brown and this whole conspiracy theory, I think back to, because Gifted, your question was, why do you think that is? I think back to the tweet right after Kyrie had gotten dropped from Nike that Jaylen Brown sent out saying, since when does Nike ever care about ethics? From that point on, I knew it was up from there. I was like, oh, all right. So now, because Jaylen Brown is also, I think, the vice president of the Players Association and was reelected vice president. So bro is intelligent as hell. Bro's smart. He knows what he's doing. Anybody that gets elected to that type of role for the Players Association, Chris Paul, for example, high IQ, that makes sense. For Jaylen Brown, he sees straight through bullshit every single time. He'll see through a PR statement, all of that.
Yeah.
So
he's a smart dude. Jaylen Brown is super intelligent.
Exactly.
Which is why he should not have said shit about the Bron. Just let it ride. Let it ride.
Exactly.
Let it ride, bro.
Shit. But yeah, Jaylen Brown is not dumb, nor does he play into the hands of the powers that be. Like, that's not who he is. The fact that this man won Eastern Conference Finals MVP, the fact that this man was a Finals MVP, the fact that you can make an argument, even for some people, that he outplayed Jason Tatum in the NBA Finals. Tatum sits here, free, chilling. Hey, I'm here. Don't I know I shot like shit. I know Jalen stepped up big time. The world knows that. But I'm here. And so is my boy Derek for some reason, right? Now, I remember a coach on Get Up. I was watching right after Kawhi's situation went down where they were like, he's going off or getting off the team. And somebody said that Jaylen Brown was a younger version of a Kawhi Leonard or Kawhi Leonard 2.0 or something like that. And the fact that when they were throwing out names of like people that could fill that Kawhi gap.
Yeah.
And I remember when they clipped it, comment section was upset. He ain't no Kawhi Leonard. This nigga ain't no Kawhi. The reason that he said that is because essentially for Team USA, somebody asked in the chat, I think it was Duke, they were like, why would they even go after Kawhi Leonard in the first place? It's based off of legacy. That's the politics I'm talking about here. For Kawhi Leonard, he was a player that we look at and we know what he has done in the past, and we love him for that. He's almost like a nostalgia player. We love him for what we've known that he has done in his career, not for what he's done in the last 4 years of his career, right? So when you look at Jaylen Brown and somebody saying, okay, go get you a younger version of Kawhi, what he's saying is like Jalen, like Gifted said, Jalen already has ties to Team USA. If he needs to come in, and he also knows how to play a role better than anybody outside of maybe Derek White, right? He knows how to play a role, especially on a team like Team USA. You need a two-way guy. He can bring that, right? His transition defense, his point of attack defense was great in the postseason. So for Derek White, that was a safe bet for people, for I think Team USA to be like, all right, they're not going to really be mad because they understand. Derek White's a role player. This is a role player type role. But at the same time, it's like, it's convenient that, hey, Joel Embiid's here. He's not from the U.S., but, you know, we've been camping to see. You remember someone else that was slated to join Team USA? Kyrie Irving. So it's interesting to me.
Another Nike thing. Another Nike thing.
Know,
I just want to point out.
And we know exactly. Thank you, Gifted. Another Nike situation with Kyrie, who everybody would love to see on Team USA, along with Jaylen Brown. But ironically, both of them have had falling outs with Nike. And where does Nike rank in terms of the politic power? High as hell on the scale, if not the highest. So it's very interesting that a lot of times I feel like they be playing in our faces, like they're going to sweep this shit under the rug and like nobody's going to talk about it. But for me, and for someone like Jaylen Brown, who he's sending out cryptic tweets saying, I'm not afraid of you and all this shit. Who do you think he's talking about? Did he? No, he's talking about Team USA and Nike, bro. He knows something. We're talking about morals and ethics. I remember in the 2023 All-Star game, I think Jaylen Brown had his pair of Kyrie's, or not his pair of Kyrie's, his pair of Nikes, but the swoosh was covered up. It said liberation and just be something. But it was plays on words. Jaylen Brown has some shit, not has some shit, but knows some shit about the powers that be at Nike. Same with Kyrie. And now we're sitting here wondering why certain players are on the team and they're not. I'm sitting here wondering how the hell Jaylen Brown went out there this year and put up, I believe, he shot from the field a career high percentage. No All-NBA teams. None. The Celtics were 14 games better than the second seed in the East. Best team
14
in the league
games
by far.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown, no All-NBA selections. Not first, not second, not third. And Gifted. I didn't want to say this, but I just want to see if your memory might be a little bit fresher than mine. Steph and KD, when they was on the same team, weren't they making All-NBA teams together? And they were. You knew that was we talk about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown being a 1A, 1B. That's the conversation that we think we put them in. We knew what that was with Steph and KD. That's a 1A, 1B right there. And it can be flipped in any way, shape, or form. But they were making All-NBA teams together and winning a lot of games.
Yeah, they were.
Crazy work. I just think all of that's interesting. Jaylen Brown, salute, my brother.
Yeah. I think it's a rough spot, man. I thought before the finals, he should have been considered for Team USA.
Hell yeah.
And like, my main thing is this, right? Derek White is a good player. I don't want people to think that I am completely shitting on Derek White. He's a great player. And I think he's a good fit type of a player. Right. My thing is, when you have Jrue Holiday on the roster, Derek White is basically another version of Jrue Holiday. It's a bit redundant. To me, Jaylen Brown as the wing to replace Kawhi, who was going to be a wing for Team USA, just makes a lot more sense, where he can get down the floor and he's explosive in transition. The transition game has always been a big part of why we dominate these other teams, because we're more athletic, we run the floor. So for Jaylen Brown to not make the team because of that, if your basketball logic is, oh, well, he's more talented than White, so maybe he might not buy in. I can't buy that when we just saw Jaylen Brown on a stacked Celtics team buy in. He struggled his first month, sure, but what did we see after post All-Star break, ZZ? We saw the Celtics team, strike fire, and Jaylen Brown figured it out. He figured out how to play next to very good players. So I can't even buy that sense. And also, it's Team USA. Like, we want to put the best talent out there as much as possible, especially after losing last year when we didn't do that. So I can't buy any of those things. In my opinion, I do believe the Nike angle is a part of why he was left off. And I want to see how this further develops as we get further in and further out. Because if you're a cream of the crop, elite, like the top 5 player in the league, Nike can't say no to you. But as Jalen said, if you're on that bubble and it's looking a little, you might get hit with not making the team. Very possible.
Mm-hmm. Crazy word. Hey, let me make sure to clip all of that because we need to get each of our takes on that. Because look, here from the logo, we see through the bullshit. All right, we know when there's some shit under the covers that they don't really want to show nobody. Look, with Nike, it's a player like Jaylen Brown to have a season like he just had. Shit's just starting not to add up. Like I said, I had an issue with him not making an All-NBA team. I had an issue with him not making an All-Defensive team. I had issues all season long. When he got the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, I said, okay, you know what? Thank you. Finals MVP, deserved. Phenomenal. But Team USA, man, you can't sit there and tell me that you got Jason Tatum on this squad, but you don't got the Robin to his Batman, the Batman to his Superman, whatever you want to call it. But you got Derek White. You got what that just doesn't make sense to me. It just as I keep trying to get it to make sense, I'm like, if anything, you would have the best 2 players from the best team in the league on this team. That's just what it would be. Like, there's just, I don't know. So I hope Jaylen Brown continues to thrive at this point. As a matter of fact, I'm not even gonna cap to you. Jaylen Brown has become one of my favorite players just based off of all this bullshit. Because I'm like, bro is literally just gonna duck his head and keep hooping, right? But he knows that he don't get that same type of love as other players who may not even deserve it. Shit is crazy. How you got Drew, Derek, and Jason, and not Drew, Jalen, and Jason? Shit is crazy. It
don't make sense. I have a unfortunate pivot here that we have not addressed on this show yet. ZZ, this should hit you the same way it hits me. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna just let the screen speak for itself.
I hope it ain't what I think it is.
I'm gonna read it out too, because I think belief when I seen this. Okay,
that's what I think it is.
The Golden State Warriors are offering Moses Moody multiple first-round picks, multiple pick swaps, and multiple second-round picks to the Utah Jazz in exchange for Lauri Markkanen. Utah wants Moody, Kuminga, Brandon, along with picks.
Moody,
now listen,
Kuminga,
man.
Brandon, along with picks for Lauri Markkanen.
Now, I want y'all to understand what frustrates me. Okay? What makes me so upset, ZZ, about this? I just got to breathe. Okay, hang on. So look. Imagine being Moses Moody, right? The team plays Anthony Lamb over you for the majority of the regular season. Yep. Then they give you playoff minutes. The very next year, they then decide to play Corey Joseph over you, who, by the way, for those of you who did not keep up with this, was waived at the deadline. We had to give up cash to get him off of our team to the Pacers, and the Pacers waived his ass within the hour. Immediately. He got waived. So you're telling me that he wasn't good enough to get minutes for 2 back-to-back years. But now, where you're trying to trade for a all-star, he's the only player in the deal. No other player. They're just offering Moses Moody and draft picks. We don't know if it's unprotected.
Right.
It could be heavily protected. But the fact that they're only offering Moody for an all-star and Lauri Markkanen, who's on a great contract that is CBA friendly, will not take you into the second apron, and you're only offering Moses Moody, a guy that you never really gave a fuck about because you didn't give a fuck about playing the minutes. To me, it's like, it feels like a troll. It feels like a slap in my face. It really do.
That's ass backwards. You just explained it. Now, look, I saw that, and this is exactly what I thought you were going to talk about, because I looked at it in two ways. One, the same way you looked at it from the Warriors side, which was, A, you mean to tell me that this is all you think is worth Lauri Markkanen with the, like you said, with the way you treated this man.
With the way they treated Moody, yeah.
The way you treated Moody was like, I mean, I can't even describe it. Y'all, you played Anthony. What was his name again? No, not Anthony. What was the first dude's name?
Anthony Lamb, Corey Joseph.
Anthony Lamb. I remember seeing him, and he probably hit 2 threes all season that I actually watched him actually hit live. Right. Other time it might have been in garbage minutes, but I sat back and I was like, I don't see the potential in him ahead of Moses Moody.
Corey didn't play a single minute in the playoffs, by the way.
Didn't make a single minute, and whatever. Corey Joseph, I saw nothing. All I heard about Corey Joseph was that he had a great personality or some shit from his days in San Antonio. He was just a great human. I don't give a fuck if you have the best smile in the league. If you aren't producing on the court, that means nothing. And you saw when he got traded or just bought out and waived immediately, it meant nothing. So now, my question goes to Danny Ainge. Who do you think we are, bro? Do you think we're the Brooklyn Nets of 2013? Do you like what? So you mean to tell me that the Warriors said, "Hey, look, take our damaged goods and some picks," and then Utah said, "Give me your best young goods and take Lauri."
But it's worse than that. It I saw another report that said that specifically they wanted Moody, Kuminga, B-Pods, 3 unprotected first-round picks, 3 unprotected pick swaps with 3 second-round picks. Like they wanted all of that for Lauri Markkanen.
Now let me ask y'all, chat, is Lauri Markkanen? No. I'm not even gonna ask you that. Chat, what player in the league is worth that? Tell me in the chat. What player you would say, okay, you know what? Fine. And if so, is that player Lauri Markkanen? That's my question. Because look, I know Lauri's cold. You're not about to ruin the entire future of this team on Lauri Markkanen. I don't care. Like I was like, if y'all want that much, I'm good.
Yeah. For that package, you need the SGAs of the world.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's tough.
I'm not trading both of Brandon or Kuminga. I can definitely understand trading one. One of them might pop. That makes sense. But to trade both of them with all those picks, that means all your draft. Basically, this is a Clippers type trade where all your picks are gone, and you have not one young player. They're taking Moody, Kuminga, and Brandon, plus all the draft capital. All of it is gone. To me, it's like if you can get this done with one of them, okay, I can maybe understand.
Exactly. What about 2 of them?
2, okay. Now,
less draft picks than if you're gonna do 2 of them. I still think 2 is kind of crazy though.
2 is wild, but it would be less draft picks in that situation, and you would know how to negotiate your way into that, right? Like I said, does Danny Ainge think the Warriors front office is just stupid? Because I don't understand. Look,
hey, Danny ain't gonna take a shot at fleecing everyone. He's just gonna put it out there. If you accept it,
Danny Ainge would rather not do a deal if he can't fleece. Like he has to beat you considerably in any deal he makes. That's why the Celtics got better after he left, because they actually made trades. They weren't trading anything with Danny Ainge.
Yeah. So it's the way I see it is just like, man, I remember, like Gifta said, they thought we weren't looking at the Clippers. They thought that we ain't see shit from what happened with the Clippers in the last 4 to 5 years. Since when Patrick Beverly made that quote, right? Could anybody have predicted the fall of the Clippers in the next 5 years? The way that, and then to a point where at the end of those 5 years, they have nothing for the future. left. So
Yeah.
it's a situation where they don't know if they want to contend or tank because it really won't make a difference either way. And on top of that, you have to. I will say this: the Clippers made a mistake giving Kawhi Leonard the extension when they did. I feel like because you found yourself in a situation later on down the road where Paul George is looking like, hey, you gave him what? And he played how many games in the last 4 years? And you gave him what? So then Paul George ends up leaving for nothing. And then you, as the Clippers, are going to find yourself in a situation where you let him walk for nothing. Russ is about to be out the door. Harden, we know how Harden is. That nigga will find a way out any means necessary. If he got to get fat, if he got to change the complexion of his skin, he will figure it out. All right. So you have that. Then you're going to end up having a disgruntled superstar that you spent that much money to extend and the years on it. You were going to have a disgruntled superstar who we saw how rocky shit got when Kawhi wanted to get up out of San Antonio. Like he won a championship for Toronto, and Toronto fans were sitting there like, oh my God, yay, we're relevant, finally. And then Kawhi said, nah, I'm out. Deuces. Get up out of there. And now, based off of how his tenure in LA has went so far, you think that he's just gonna be content with riding out the last 2 to 3 years on his extension? Nah, the Clippers are cooked, bro. They're done. they are absolutely done. Kawhi will not be a Clipper at the end of by the end of the 2026 season. I'm calling it now, if not soon. That's their ship has sailed because they went all in on a superstar, right? And to your point, Gifted, you said it a couple weeks ago. It made sense at the time. It made sense. Nobody really batted an eye when they looked at the trade package. But at the same time, if you're the Warriors front office now, you're not about to sacrifice your entire future for Lauri Markkanen. If we saw what the fuck just happened with Kawhi and Paul George, hell nah. I'm good. I would much rather us just miss the playoffs with what we got than bank on getting Lauri Markkanen here and gutting the rest of the team for what? Like, nah, I'm good on that. I would rather tough it out with the young guys, let them continue to develop and call it a day than waste my time fucking up my future, banking on the present. When we got 4 championships already, we Steph straight, bro. Steph good. Lauri need this ring, nigga. Like if anything, they don't need it. They don't need
I just feel like right now for the Warriors, I feel like you're at a important flex point because again, you do need to improve the roster. Right. Ultimately, the moves that they made, the only way that those moves really move a needle is if you have a guy that you feel like you can rely on offensively to be a number 2 guy. I think Lauri Markkanen in the Warrior system can absolutely be that. My problem is when you get to trading both of your 2 young players who show promise. B-Paz played well in Summer League. He was also playing well at Team USA. These are things that you have to come to grips with. I understand how good Lauri Markkanen is, but if you're talking about specifically 3 unprotected first-round picks, 3 unprotected pick swaps, and 3 to 4 second-round picks, plus 3 players for 1 guy, that's just too much to give up. And no, you can't put yourself through all that to me. I just don't think you can manage it.
And I also don't think just because Lauri Markkanen, Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, like adding him to that is not going to put you over the top. It gives us a situation where, let's say, if you had a prime Klay Thompson, a prime KD on the team, and you thought this would get you over the top again, sometimes you can give more, but in this situation, it's for sure just too much to give.
Yeah, I think keeping those players with Lauri Markkanen is like, all right, now exactly. They might really have something, but to give up both of them with all your resources, like now that's your last move to really upgrade the roster outside of maybe free agency, and then you're cooked. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think they're just kind of playing the game, seeing what other teams want to get involved or whatnot. And I don't think we're going to get a update on this until later, deep into the season. This could drag on into the season. And I feel like the Jazz understand how good the next draft class is going to be. I think they're going to tank again. I do believe that. And at that point, when they start doing that, Lauri Markkanen will be on the table yet again.
They might lower the price mid-season. So it could be something.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it too. Let me say this because I'm gonna have to cut out a little bit early today, but I do want to say 2 things. One, I'm gonna ask y'all this question. Shit, I just forgot the question. So I'm gonna get to number 2. Rest in peace, Skip Bayless' career. All right, because
I forgot about the Skip Bayless shit. Yeah.
What happened with Skip Bayless? I mean, his career is basically over, but
no, his career. Yeah, you're right. At the end of the summer, he'll be leaving Undisputed in Fox Sports Network.
Okay.
Which means that LeBron James, ladies and gentlemen, survived his biggest hater.
Now he really did outlast Skip Bayless. Yeah.
So W in the chat for LeBron.
Skip Bayless has a lot of children though of the LeBron James haters. Like he really birthed this before it was popularized because he was doing it before it was cool.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of jumped on the bandwagon once he went to Miami. Because LeBron was super, super loved kind of throughout all. He's still super, super loved.
For sure.
More polarized now, but he was more loved, before he went to Miami. But Skip was on that haterade train early.
Day one hater.
He was day one. And then a lot of these clowns like I mentioned before, the Scap Attacks, Uncuffed Suits, Apex Jones, this other Clipper dude on Twitter. Yeah, no, these guys are all getting called out. Jacob the Clipper, another clown on Twitter does that. These guys are all Skip Bayless is their idol. He is their daddy. So I mean, look, shout out Skip Bayless, man. His what do you call it? His inspiration or him doing what he did clearly had birthed a lot of followers. What if he goes back to First Take?
He's not going back to First Take. They don't want that old ass. They don't want.
Yeah, ESPN already said they're not interested.
Yeah, and you got to.
It's wild that came out. Yeah.
Here's the thing, too. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Skip Bayless is much more knowledgeable about basketball than like Mad Dog Russo, for example.
Oh yeah,
but Mad Dog is so funny. I don't like. I like he be saying just the most out of pocket shit. Dropping to his knees in defense of Bob Cousy and shit, but. He's funny. Like he brings that other element. So I can get past and look past how he really don't know what he's talking about or he hasn't watched basketball post 1989, but I can deal with it. If Skip in some multi-universe was able to go back to ESPN and match, and you would see First Take with Stephen A, Shannon, and Skip.
That's a ratings bonanza. I'm not gonna
dominate the ratings. I swear to God, it dominate the ratings.
That first episode might have the highest ratings we've seen in a really long time. Definitely. Obviously, him and Shannon would have that conversation. A lot of egos though there.
A lot of egos.
A lot of big egos. I know Stephen A wants to raise a lot of money too. Like the whole sports network.
Because if you think about it, Skip put Stephen A on or back on to ESPN. He put him back on, and then he put Shannon Sharp on too. So essentially, Stephen A and Shannon are his sons. But no, I'm just kidding. But if you think about it, the way that the tide shifted, and now Stephen A's in charge of ESPN as the head man up there. Yeah. Got Shannon a job because Skip fumbled Shannon, and it's just the whole situation was all brought on by Skip because he really, really wanted to defend Tom Brady, which I never understood. Like, if you are doing a show with somebody, right? For example. Say me and Gifted got into a disagreement over like Derrick Rose, for example. And I said to Gifted, you're just jealous because he made it to the league and you didn't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just letting emotion get in the way of A, our friendship here for partnership and what we're doing. But B, I'm defending a guy that doesn't even know me. That was the thing that bothered me with Skip. He was defending Tom Brady to the core, right? And he said before, I've never met Tom Brady. I've never interviewed him, yada, yada, yada. So why are you defending that man so hard against a man that is supposed to be your co-host and friend? Why are you like, I never understood that. Why people would go to the lengths of hell to defend somebody they don't know and then personally send jabs at somebody that's standing across from them that they're having the conversation with. That was what happened, essentially. Wow.
Yeah, I heard that.
So Skip is the reason for the downfall of Skip Bayless and FS1. Even with the DeMar Hamlin situation, I thought Skip handled that terribly. Even though his tweet was taken out of context, but Skip could have just chosen not to tweet that night or just sent like prayer emojis or something. You didn't have to. You didn't have to word it like that, Skip. He just walks himself into fucking corners. I swear.
Look, man, I don't know how to feel because I kind of just don't care. Like, I don't watch these dumbass shows anyway. I haven't watched First Take in like 8 years, 9 years now. I don't watch that shit. Definitely, like, listen, Undisputed was good because Shannon and Skip produced so many clips that were just funny for no reason. But outside of that, even they weren't really on shit, especially after Shannon left. They've been fucking awful.
Paul Pierce.
Awful.
I think Shannon might be the best out of that trio at this point because Stephen A's show was looking a little shaky too before Shannon got there, right? Yeah, he might be
I agree. I agree.
So shout out Shannon.
I agree with that.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that ship is sailed. But overall, we got some more things that are coming up for Team USA. I want to give a huge shout out before we get out of here to Anthony Davis. He played so good in that second game. He just translates to the international game at a high level. So can't wait to see how the rest of these games look as we get closer to actual serious basketball.
Yep, I agree. I got to head out, boys. Love y'all. Chat. Love y'all. Y'all be good.
All good.
Be back on Thursday. I'm just going to say quickly, Anthony Davis. Well, yeah, Anthony Davis. Anthony Edwards is the real alpha of this team, or at least is trying to take that role of responsibility on.
He's definitely trying.
He's trying to take that responsibility on. It reminds me of, I think back to when he was working with Steve Kerr at one time, and he was like, yeah, we had Kobe, and he's like, we don't got Kobe. Like, you know, he's just like, he's that type of player where it's like, I don't give a damn. Give me the ball. Let's hoop, right? Anthony Davis has been cooking, right? I need to see more love for Anthony Davis. Last game, Team USA almost slipped up. I ain't gonna cap. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I was at work, right? I had to have my phone propped up right next to me as I'm working and typing and shit. I looked, the Team USA was up, I think 17-20. I put an order in, look back at my phone, they up 8. I'm like, what the fuck? What happened? So I didn't even see the run that Australia went on, right? I just looked at I'm like, damn. So, but I did see Team USA getting a little sloppy, right? I saw Steve Kerr insert Anthony Edwards back into the lineup in order to kind of calm everybody down. And it worked. To his credit, it worked. Keep their foot kind of on the pedal. So I will say Team USA is not perfect. They're, obviously, but they still got some work to do. So I'm gonna be interested to see what goes down. Going for Derek White still hasn't played a game yet, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He's not gonna.
I think they want to get him more used to it too.
Right,
so.
right. Which
makes sense.
All these are no joke too. I mean, look, Josh Giddey, NBA caliber player, had a Josh Giddey was
hooping.
Yeah,
Josh Giddey was
8 rebounds.
He was trying to fill up that bag.
Yeah, he
almost triple double.
Yeah, almost
triple double. Yeah.
Jock Landale had a nice little 20 piece.
Jock Landale was cooking.
Yeah, no, he was doing his thing. So look, all these are no joke. You're gonna have close games. Team USA, I mean, their edge though is definitely their bench. Like their second unit is just a first unit on every other team essentially.
Yeah,
bro, right? The Bam Tatum lineups are good.
Yeah, exactly. The second unit is going to see, I think, a lot of kind of you're going to see their like box plus minus be really huge, just because starters on the other teams are still USA still significantly better, but they have NBA guys. Other teams have NBA guys starters, but the bench on these other teams is where the US the disparity really shows once they go into their bench units.
Absolutely. So yeah, Team USA should be more fun. Also, the W has been very fun to watch as well. Caitlin Clark has really been getting it in her bag as of late a whole lot. Hooping. First triple double for a rookie a couple of games ago. So that's fun.
See that Angel Reese chasing that double, trying to keep that streak going.
You saw that?
Yeah, I saw that too,
right? Yeah.
He was like, no, ma'am, no. We go to triple T double. No, you're not about to get this record on us. Keep it going.
It was shameless. It was very shameless, but at the same time, I understand wanting to keep it. I feel like if I was out there and I had a chance, I would go for it as well. But they weren't going, Jalen. Yeah, they were not letting her get it.
A couple games before too, it was a close game, and they were trying to force feed her, and it went from like a 6-4 point game to like a 16-point game because they kept trying to force feed her the ball. That was even worse because it cost them the game. This one, it's like an extra time. Again, it's shameless, but like I've seen it before. Extra time, people trying to get an extra rebound, whatever. If you're missing one,
I just think if your argument is Angel Reese is rookie of the year because of the double doubles, I think that's dumb because she's just not a better player than Caitlin Clark.
Facts,
in my opinion.
Like offensive game, she's shooting like 7 for 30 in her past couple games, something ridiculous. Like she is still bad offensively. The rebounding again, phenomenal, but a lot of
really good rebound.
I mean, a lot of rebounds. We do have to put the context of rebounds too of just getting your own bad misses. something you gotta look at.
That's fair, but like I do think, to her credit, she is probably like
She's
maybe
top
like
three,
a top 3
rebounder.
rebounder. Yeah.
Oh, with that,
Like I just want to see her continue to improve in those ways. But after the Team USA break, when Kaylin and Angel get rest, I feel like we're really going to be seeing some high level hoops, man. Like these standings are mattering as we get closer and closer to the break. So I'm hyped for that person, Jalen.
They're going on a month-long break, right? Yeah, it's a month-long break. Yeah, for the Olympics. Gotcha.
Long break. So when they come back, they're going to have a lot of rest. A lot of buckets will be got.
Also, I mean, so the Team USA for the women's don't get the same amount of prep games as the men?
I believe so.
They don't, right? Because they're seasoned, so they just have to go right away?
Yeah.
That's kind of tough. That's kind of tough.
I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's tough.
And then after that, they have to come back to the league. So they really don't get no time. Like it's from there. That's why if Asia Wilson three-peats on the Aces, that's really insane because it's like you basically got no time off because you went from the championship to a shortened off time, back to the league, stopped, went to go play basketball overseas for Team USA, came back, finished out the regular season and the playoffs. That's a wild run. Yeah, that's 3 years in a row, Jalen.
That is absolutely wild. Got to give Asia her credit too. Hopefully, women's basketball we see a little more competitive. Don't expect it, but we'll see.
Yeah. But we'll catch y'all Thursday, chat. Appreciate y'all for today's episode. Definitely going to continue to be some more things that develop during this off season. I'm hoping that my team is able to make the trigger on the Lauri Markkanen stuff, but we'll see. Peace out. Y'all have a good one. Jalen, let the people know where to find you.
Jalen Carter Music, Instagram, TikTok. You know where it is, chat.
Absolutely. And you can find me on all of these places at Gifted Hoops. I just beat the 2 hardest bosses in Elden Ring. I'm in the 1% of gamers mentally untouchable. We go through any type of challenge. You know what I'm saying? I'm with all that. Today, I'll probably be on some XDefiant on my Twitch later. So tap in there. But we'll catch you guys. Peace out. Have a good one. And remember, good hoops are good hoops. Appreciate them while we got them. Peace.